big thing in analytics right now is that there's this huge transition to GA4, and that's affecting a lot of our clients, as we can see, and it's just affecting a lot of companies. So basically what we want to figure out is what exactly is GA4 and what new capabilities does it bring from the current GA3 or like universal analytics.
Yeah, you think about what Google Analytics really is, right? I mean, let's start. It started in 2000. It hasn't been around really that long in terms of the internet. 30 million sites use it today. I think that's a pretty big number. So if you think about that, that's a lot of transitions that have to happen. The thing with Google Analytics from a Google point of view is they kind of focus more on the short term, and they forego the short term for the long term, right? So by having this out in the world as a free analytics tool, it's just helping strengthen their advertising network overall, right? I mean, it's really about gaining feedback for their ad quality, right? So it gives the user utility. It lets you know what's going on your site, but its real purpose is to determine if its ad quality is good. So if it's going to run it, if it's going to send traffic, paid traffic to a specific site, then it wants to know that it's sending users to a site that's got value. So there's a big trade-off there. And I think we've run into it with certain brands who don't want that level of exposure to its user data. And that opens up a world for a whole bunch of different applications, like what happens with Adobe Analytics and how does that play a part on the paid side. But I think in terms of GA3 to GA4, I would say everybody should move now. It's not going to catalog your old data. So you better start collecting your data now in a new location and start figuring out what you want to do with that GA3 data. Obviously, that's why we exist.
Like, what is the main benefit
of
having like good Google Analytics?
I think understanding what's working and what's not working on your site. Yeah, I think the easiest example is to think about a bounce rate. Right, bounce rate means somebody came to that URL and then immediately left. Maybe sometimes not immediately, but they didn't really traverse your full experience. I think the benefit is really to understand, like, okay, I made a hypothesis in creative and build. Right. Is that actually doing what I thought it would do? But oftentimes you find that it's not. You know, I use the example, and my partners will hate me for it, but the little arrow telling people to scroll. We forego that as a design ego, but the reality is that sometimes really does make a difference in people scrolling and not having a bounce rate. You have to test those things, and I think that's the beauty of Google Analytics is allows you. It's a free way for you to figure out how to optimize your experience.
Well, and it's also, I mean, relatively anonymous. Like, it only shows us where the people are and if they're using desktop or mobile. Right.
To a degree, yeah. I think we've got to see in GA4 what is the true data set that gets captured. Because we might only have access to that data, but Google's scraping the whole thing. Right.
Yeah.
You know, on both ends, from their crawlers and from their analytics. So they're getting a wider view of the consumer. It's almost interesting that they want to kill the cookie. You kind of see through that veil. It's like you're not trying to advance the internet for the concerns of privacy. You're trying to kind of narrow the market on user identification.